is coming off signature victories against USC in primetime, and then against a team that had owned them recently in the Big 12 last week, TCU. But it's today, the litmus test on the road, as they come a-calling against a team that they haven't beaten here since 2002. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Brando. You'll hear from Holly Saunders shortly. Spencer Tillman is by my side. And Spencer, you look at this Texas club right now, and they are magnificent coming in. But that's for now.
Yeah.
What kind of team will we see today?
They've been playing well, and their quarterback, Sam Ehlinger, has been playing exceptionally well. He's been perfect in terms of no turnovers during this three-game stretch where they've been undefeated. But Tom Herman is a truth teller, and he's telling his team there's no one on this roster that has defeated Kansas State at this place. It's physical. They've got to expect that. The only thing they can rely on is their preparation, which apparently has been good this week.
On the flip side, Spencer, Bill Snyder, the Hall of Famer, has been so upset with his quarterbacks. He called them both out and his offense this past week.
I thought it was a heady, wily move from the old veteran. I think Alex Delton, the quarterback, gives him the best chance to win. Skylar Thompson, he's been the starter through all four to this point. Both of them will play, but I think ultimately they're going to try to shorten the game with their run game, beginning with the quarterback, Alex Delton.
We do have a major story surrounding the Texas offense coming in, and it will affect the protocol of how Tom Herman will call today's game. And with more on that, here's Holly.
Absolutely, Tim. It's been a unique situation for Texas this week as their offensive coordinator, Tim Beck, was hospitalized on Thursday due to an infection. Now, this caused them to ask the NCAA if they could promote an analyst. Yes, well, permission was granted. So today you'll see Jordan Salkin have a chance to help Coach Herman over headset. I had a chance to talk to Jordan before the game, and he said all the right things, Tim. But you know when you look at somebody and you think they're nervous, it's just the way that he was acting, Tim. But either way, it's a great opportunity for young Jordan Salkin today.
Marvelous day for football. 57 degrees, a lot of rain overnight. The cold front came through. Cloudy forecast as Tom Herman's team prepares for its first major road test in the conference in the regular season. And there's the Hall of Famer, Bill Snyder. 27 seasons here, a 3-year sabbatical, and his curtain call, arguably the best in college football history.
One of the highlights has always been able to sit down and get a nugget from the legend. Only active coach in the Hall of Fame.
Andrew Hicks is going to boot it away. Back deep is Deshaun Jameson, and he'll take it from his 8-yard line. Markers down as he is corralled at the 25-yard line. An 18-yard return.
During the return, holding. Return team, number 81, 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's Reese Lato, the youngster tight end. That is the son of David Lato, the head coach of the DePaul Blue Demons in Big East Conference play, which will be starting soon on FS1 and Fox. There's Sam Ehlinger, 200-plus pass yardage and 2 touchdowns. Only quarterback in history at Texas. That's a long list to be above to have done that, and he's done it in the first 4 games this season.
And he's been taking care of the football during that stretch, too. No turnovers for Ehlinger doing that run.
So they begin from the 12-yard line and run zone read with Trey Watson. This is a committee of backs that they'll be utilizing today as we hear from Tillman's takes.
I think that's really the link right there. They've got to establish their passing game because it is going to be a committee of backs. They've got 2 great wideouts. We'll unpack that. So the key is going to be able to disrupt the execution for Kansas State and their guys up front. If they can't affect Ehlinger, who's been playing lights out, it's going to be a long afternoon for them if they can't control the line of scrimmage.
A gain of 6, 2nd and 4. Deontay Graham in the backfield. Now they go with the little bubble screen out to Duvernay, and Devin Duvernay, they want to get the ball up as often as they possibly can, is just shy of the first down yardage necessary. Eli Walker, number 7, free safety, making the stop. 3rd down, and we'll call it a yard here.
Yeah, little Jordan Humphrey and then Colin Johnson have been the main 2 receivers at this point. But watch Duvernay. He's the guy that really has been out right now. He's going to step up his game at wide receiver.
Out of the shotgun with Ingram in the backfield. And Keontae bounces it outside.
Nice.
Oh, really good cut. And is run down from behind by Daquan Patton, number 5.
He made Kendall Adams, number 21, the free safety, missed on that play. It was just a great move that he showed you some of the speed and quickness on the outside. It was just outstanding. The ability to get around him to the edge was impressive.
He's the most talented of the trio. Freshman from Carthage, Texas, highly thought of. Need to keep him healthy. He's been nicked up lately. Play fake. And now out of the rollout, Ehlinger, much better passer on the run than in the pocket in terms of his accuracy. Gets it out beyond the 40-yard line. That's about 4 yards shy of a first down. We'll call it a gain of 7.
Yeah, I like the balance that Tom Herman is really putting together. He says it's a by committee affair as far as the coordinators are concerned. It is, but he's the one that's calling the shots ultimately. He's really spreading the field effectively, putting stress on K-State's defense.
One of the things, matchups to keep an eye on today, Colin Johnson, the all-everything wide receiver, working on Duke Shelley. Pressure from up the middle. Ehlinger in a world of hurt. Heaves it out of there. He was well outside the tackle box. Trey Dishon. Dishon with a huge bull rush right up the gut, Spencer.
Well, Dishon is coming around this direction. That's what flushed it out. The 4-man rush shows you the pressure off the edge, the inside move, and the ability to come out up front. That is how you play and put pressure on this suddenly resurgent Texans offense. The big guy, I'm telling you, he's got his ears pinned back, coming hell-bent for election, man.
Another Spencerism just popped out, right? A little.
It's election season,
Yeah.
almost anyway.
Hell-bent for election. 3rd down and 20. A drive stymied by Texas miscues and missed opportunities in the passing game. Out of the shotgun, empty backfield. Ehlinger lets it fly again deep. And Parker was closer to it than Duvernay. And a punt formation coming up for the Horns.
That one had just way too much air underneath it. A.J. Parker playing in that right cornerback position, fielded it nicely. Actually may have had a shot at it if he had a little bit more speed in his back end. But again, they hold, and that's what they needed in a desperate way.
Ryan Buchevsky will come on to punt for Texas. Duke Shelley is back deep to return. 3 first downs for Texas on the drive, but a couple of penalties. One on the opening kickoff, and that block in the back was huge to help Kansas State defensively in that series. Fair catch is called for by Shelley at the 6-yard line. 45-yard boot. This place only seats a little over 50,000, but boy, do they make some noise. Who will be the QB? That answer next. As expected, it is Alex Delton that gets the call. The junior, the more emotional leader from a verbal standpoint for Bill Snyder. As you see, Skylar Thompson has gotten the lion's share of opportunities. The redshirt freshman looking on.
I think the fact that he's the better runner, Timmy, is what the strategic move was all about.
Without a doubt.
It's going to be tough to run against those double A gaps.
Yeah, big time. This front seven's been outstanding of late for Texas. Here's Alex Barnes, the go-to back. He gets ahead to about the 8-yard line, stopped by Gary Johnson. Well, last Saturday, West Virginia was 7 of 12 for 82 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. That was important. He does have, the ability to run the football, and you're right, Spencer, because they utilize their quarterbacks as running backs in their offense. That is of utmost importance to Bill Snyder and his staff today. He'll take it himself, gets beyond the 10 to out to the 13-yard line, and let's get Tillman's takes for K-State.
Well, Timmy, along with that run from the quarterback position, Alex Barnes has got to help out. He's a big guy, 6'2", 222. They've got to shorten the game with this rushing attack. If they had done that on first down, you'd look at favorable pass run distance there on that particular one. But then how do you manage that? The double A-gap look that we saw up front, you got to man up along the line of scrimmage for Texas. That's the key for stopping this Kansas State offense.
3rd down and 4 with Isaiah Zuber motioning out to the left side. So they got trips to the bottom of your screen here. Zuber in the slot. Texas showing blitz. It's a run blitz as it turns out, and Delton runs right where the blitzer came from. It's a first down. Out beyond the 20-yard line. Outstanding decision by Delton. Caden Stearns, number 7, the freshman, made the stop.
Alex Barnes, he's the guy that really made this possible. Watch his kick out back there. That's what springs the quarterback to the outside, having a heady fullback that understands exactly what to do to free his quarterback.
First down 10 from the 21 for K-State. Just underway first quarter at the Little Apple. Barnes is stopped after about a yard, maybe 2. Stearns, who's emerging as a star safety in this league, 5-star guy that is the goods, according to Todd Orlando. As you look at the rushing comparison, really the story of this game in so many respects is what happens with this stat by game's end.
He had 2 interceptions against TCU. He is a young beast, and they're burning him up on the back end with safeties on the recruiting trail as well. They've been outstanding.
Barnes and now Dalvin Womack in the backfield. So only 2 wide receivers set to the top of your screen. And it's Barnes. Nice hole.
Wow.
Great push to go with it. It's a first down.
See, this is the letter of the law by the script. That's why he made the move. The big lineman pushing up front will show you exactly. That guy right there, Bill Snyder, is a genius, folks. He knows that he's got to slow this game down and do exactly what Texas attempted to do in the first series they had the ball. They're possessing it, shortening the game, preventing them from scoring, and then finding a way to get a big play down the field once they create an 8-man scenario where Texas has to defend the run.
Barnes is 4th in the Big 12 in rushing, averaging just under 70 yards per game. 3 rushes, 11 yards so far today, and he'll tote it again. Charles Omenihu with the stop. Barnes again. Chris Nelson makes the stop. As you look at Todd Orlando, very happy with this very athletic defense that he has. Feels that their habits, their work habits through the course of the week, and the culture that they were pining so long for a year ago has finally become a real factor for them. They played excellent football in the last 2 second halves.
He's a pragmatic coach, and to this point, he's actually been pulled out of that 8-man front because of the effectiveness that Kansas State has had in the run game. He's trying to play it cautiously against this group.
3rd down and 6 coming up now for Alex Delton. He'll keep it, and he's ramped up immediately. Looked like maybe the ball came loose for a second. But it was Chris Nelson that had his big mitts on him, and Omenihu as well. So 4th down and a punt formation coming up.
Yeah, Charles Omenihu came from the backside, number 90. He's the one that snuck in there and drug him down. It's a tremendous effort of him seizing exactly where the ball was and the quarterback and snuffing out a potential longer game.
Tell you what, that was almost an injury. That left ankle and knee were being pulled back as the ball came out, but he did recover it. Hicks boots it away with Deshaun Jamison back deep. Backing up to his 10. He's got a lane. Stopped on a dime. Great blocking and a convoy. Can the kicker make the play? Maybe not. Deshaun Jamison will take it to the house. Touchdown. On a 55-yard boot. He got a great block and stopped on a dime after he'd gotten through the first wave of K-State defenders.
Timmy, one guy missed, and again, special teams is tough. It happened early, just overran him, brought the ball back to the field, and again, on special teams, they're taught to flow to the ball and create a funnel effect. The problem with that is when you miss, the field away is totally wide open. Texas took advantage of it.
Cameron Dicker with the extra point. A little hello, how do you do? The burnt orange has arrived in mini Manhattan. And that's certainly the case for Kansas State fans after this.
Timmy, let's check DJ Render right here, number 6 on the outside. The problem is he's going to render himself ineffective just by going right past. He's got to contain, that's no question about it, but he's got to collapse that down and allows the Texas return man to go all the distance simply because of a mistake. He had leverage, but an outside leverage guy has got to be able to use some of those offensive skills as a reserve wide receiver to collapse and come down. It certainly didn't help his team out on that one. Bill Snyder didn't like it.
We should also credit Anthony Cook, a reserve defensive back, freshman from Houston's Lamar High School, who made a great block to spring it the rest of the way. Here's Duke Shelley out of his end zone. Shelley is popping. Wow. Along the sidelines at the 22-yard line. Among those in on it, Cameron Townsend, the junior linebacker from Missouri City. We'll be back. Well, you see the offensive comparison. I believe I saw that K-State would probably run it more in your takes, and so far that's been a shutout, Spence.
It's been a winning combination in the series since '95, the Big 12's inception. That's how they've created an advantage in this series.
From the 22, Delton remains the quarterback. Trying to run with patience, but there's nothing there. He's going to lose a couple of yards here. Outstanding penetration from Devontae Davis, 18, the senior from Miami's Booker T. Washington High. Jeffrey McCulloch also pressed into duty. Got his first start, number 23, a week ago, and played very well in that victory over TCU.
Yeah, I tracked that kid out of Houston. He plays the bandit position at linebacker. He's really active, probably undervalued, but he's got an opportunity now to state his case that he belongs in the lineup.
Texas had a number of great defenders that were hurt before fall camp began. Here's Isaiah Zuber with his first grab and a flag. As you could see, his head snapped back just a bit. We should have a face mask to go along with that. Off the first reception of the day, and there it is.
You can see it right there. Chris Boyd, number 2, puts that hand right on the face mask. And you can
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 2, 15-yard penalty, and an automatic first down.
He's their best cover corner, and he's going to be seeing a lot of Isaiah Zuber today. Chris Boyd, the senior from Gilmer, Texas. Well, that aids the Kansas State cause as they try to answer after Deshaun Jameson's first punt return for a touchdown of 90 yards. Barnes remains the setback out of the gun. Delton again trying to find his way free on the left side, but again, not much there. This is a Kansas State offensive line that still has some question marks, and in the past they've been very solid there. Gerald Wilbon, number 94, making that tackle. They are led by their right tackle, Dalton Reisner, 71, senior that's got football potential well beyond college. He's got some young guys there with him that need to step it up for them to be able to get what they like to get from the quarterback on the ground. Delton. And you see Gary Johnson making the stop. And you see Andre Coleman, the offensive coordinator, along the sidelines. A very eventful week for him as a quarterback change was made. When his head coach told him the quarterback change was being made.
Yeah. Along with Charlie Dickey and, of course, Colin Klein. They got a really unique tri-coordinator scenario right there if you're looking for a challenge.
3rd down and 3 from the 45. Delton shoots it low and incomplete. Boy, that's a grounder. Harris was right there. Isaiah was wide open, and he just threw it into the dirt.
And that's a catchable ball. Again, that's a pitch and catch scenario, but that shows you why he's starting. That's not his strong suit, what he does. And of course, Bill Snyder was resigned to not mention that, and he's not going to declare an advantage to us for sure. But clearly that's not his strength. He's a runner first, and as long as they keep him in this sweet spot, I think he's going to be effective.
Kansas State's number 28 is now wearing number 4.
Got a lot of that on special teams in the college game. That's just for our spotter, Brett Bender. So
that's why they pay you the
we're
big
looking
bucks,
for those
right?
dual numbers, as we oftentimes do. Punt from Hicks is a good one. Taken by Brandon Jones. And a fair catch called at the 11-yard line. Sam Ehlinger has been playing tough. Just wants to have a few more bullseyes in the passing game. He is coming right up. Beck stays in to help with protection on first down. Ehlinger rolling and finding his man. That's Duvernay.
Yeah, despite the fact that Wyatt Herbert, number 56, was really active on that last play, got the pressure out, delivered the ball on the strike. That's when Ehlinger is his best, on the move. Does a nice job. You can see here's where the pressure is going to come from ultimately. But Ehlinger on the move, arm over outside by Hubert. Nice job of releasing that ball on the throw. He's pretty darn good, is Ehlinger.
2nd and 4. Again, they swing it out. They run this play a ton. Joshua Moore this time near the sticks. Elijah Walker again making the tackle. They'll use a ton of wide receivers. Jamison will play there. Joshua Moore. We'll see some of Eagles and Pouncey as well.
Walker's more like a stalker on this play. Watch him drive to the ball. And see, he could have come underneath, but a wise, heady player decides the speed of this guy's got the ball in his hand. He's going to take him to the perimeter and use it to his advantage. And that's a heady play right there. Outstanding.
3rd down and 1. You'll notice Elijah Rodriguez, not Shackelford, is the center for Texas. He was converted from tackle after the injury to Shackelford. who was a 50-50 game time proposition in that offensive line. Ehlinger rolling to the other side this time and finds his man, Colin Johnson. And the dynamic wide receiver has an easy first down and then some, a gain of 20.
Well, that play wasn't supposed to work. Into the boundary, that is the short side of the field. You got to get rid of that ball quick. You just don't have a lot of real estate. But again, Ehlinger, when he's on the run, that's when he's at his best. And when you've got a guy that's out there that's 6'6", 215 pounds, he can make plays along that sideline.
First down with Watson in the backfield. The ball at the 49 of Kansas State. Watson bounces outside and gets beyond contained. Shelley with the shoestring tackle. Otherwise, he may have set sail down the sidelines.
And what you saw there was just a speed advantage. You know, Kendall Adams, number 21, thought he had him, but the speed defied him, beat him to the outside.
Watson remains in the backfield. You see Humphrey is back on the field, so he's in good shape. And on first down, Ehlinger to Humphrey. Inside the 30 to the 27, wrapped up by A.J. Parker, a gain of 12. And now this Texas offense is really in rhythm. Winding down to the end of the first quarter.
That is the end of the first quarter.
Now this drive began on the 12. They had one at the 11. The only points were netted on a 90-yard punt return for a touchdown by Deshaun Jameson. We're in the heartland of the Big 12. Texas with the lead through one. The open second quarter play here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman, Holly Saunders. Happy to have you with us. Trey Watson in the backfield on first down for Texas. This is a critical moment now for the K-State defense.
Throwback, they got him wide open.
It's wide open. Ehlinger's got it on the throwback. And he stopped at the 5-yard line. The ball hung up. DeQuan Patton made the stop. Watson made the throw. And it hung up in the air just a little. But in that time at the end of the quarter, Texas had some chicanery planned.
Yeah, Trey Watson needed a little bit more air out of that ball. He hung it up there. His quarterback had to go get it. Great play there.
First and goal from the 5.
Nice feet.
Watson burrows under near the 3-yard line. Here it is.
Well, look at the feet. When you can see him come up here and watch him bounce when he comes back. Well, here's the other play back before that, the throwback. It's an outstanding job, first of all, of making Ehlinger make sure he's clear. Ehlinger has to hold on it. You know he wanted to score. He's got that look in his eye. But great job of executing in the end. The net result, big game.
Well, second play of over 20 yards on this drive for Texas.
Texas now over 80 yards passing.
Yeah, they're clicking now. You can tell. Ehlinger shoots it. Got it. Johnson, touchdown. Shelley battling him for it. But the call is touchdown on the field. And when you got a 50-50 ball situation, Spencer, and a 6'6", 220-pound wide receiver, you're going to win most of those battles.
Well, the 50-50 ball with him out here is more like an 80-20 ball. When you got a 6'5" guy out there that can go up and climb the ladder and pluck it out, that's his, man. That's 50-50. Forget about that. He owns it. Let's see him high point that ball. At the top of the flight of the ball, he goes and plucks it out of the air. That's the decided advantage that he has in both these wide receivers. Jordan Humphrey on the opposite side, Colin Johnson. Look out, Big 12 Conference. Here they come.
Cameron Dicker, freshman from Austin, Texas, with the extra point. That's an 11-play, 89-yard drive, taking over 4 minutes off the clock. Ehlinger spot on to the tallest and best athlete on the field. And Texas now leads by 14. The time is now for Kansas State. They're down by 2 touchdowns, Spencer, with an offense that's not built to come from multiple scores behind.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, if you make a change, it's because you got to score touchdowns. That's the reason he made it a week ago. I'm going to suggest to you now might be that time, trailing by 14.
We all know Alex Delton was in the game because of his running prowess.
Yeah.
As long as the game was close, that was a viable option. I agree with you right now. That's the time when you start to shift. Down 14, they're not built to come back from that deficit. They don't have the firepower on the perimeter to do it. This gives the Texas defense a chance to tee off on them if they don't score quickly.
Isaiah Zuber looking for an opening, and he's in a lot of trouble. So he'll rethink rethink that situation. Let's get a quick game break now in Los Angeles. Here's Sam Farber.
Number 6, Oklahoma hosting Baylor Sooners. Quarterback Kyler Murray on fire to start. He began this game 4 for 4 with 2 touchdowns, including that 30-yard strike to Grant Calcaterra. Now, Murray was benched the first series for being late to practice, but he's obviously made up for lost time. 14-6 Oklahoma leading in the first half. Oh, by the way, Tim, Red River Showdown next week on Fox.
Yes, indeed, Sam. Thank you. And
that's a smart move by Lincoln Riley, making sure that everyone understands. I don't care if you have dollars from the Major League Baseball, you still a Sooner. It's about being on time when you need to be. It's a great move by Coach Riley.
Alex Barnes is in the backfield. Delton does remain in the game at quarterback, and you would suspect that, particularly with this drive beginning here. And Omenahu got through in a hurry, didn't he? Uh-oh, you gotta watch out.
Oh, yeah, doctor.
Looked like he was over him, and I mean, that looked awfully bad for a moment. No flag, though.
Right
no
here,
flag.
just watch him. He's in a quad stance and still rips techniques read and gets off of the ball so quickly. Man, he's an athlete. He's got instinct, and he certainly knows how to finish.
I think the teammates really bailed him out here, Spencer. Watch how quickly they get to him. They pulled him off.
Yep.
He was over the top
He's
of
all right.
Delton for a moment. You don't want to have one of those flags negate a great play. Pass to Zuber. Floated a little bit on him. He gets it out to about the 8-yard line where he's taken out of bounds. Chris Boyd took him out. Here's what I'm talking about.
It was a clean hit, but you're talking about taunting.
Right
He's
there.
looking in his face.
Talking to him and standing over
that's
him.
garbage. That's
now
garbage.
But watch what Nelson did here. Nelson and McCulloch, in my opinion, saved a flag.
That wouldn't have happened last year. That type of leadership they probably would have celebrated as opposed to trying to decry that kind of action. That's the difference between this Texas team and last year's leadership.
Yeah, smart move by those two guys. This could be a safety. Oh, the ball is out.
He fumbled it forward.
And I believe France is on top of it. And that may have saved them. I think they may still call it a safety. Omenahu had his arms wrapped around him. We'll wait and see if that is in fact the call from our referee, David Alvarez. I thought his forward progress was stopped and we were going to have a safety. Then the ball came flying out of his grasp.
Well, there was clearly an effort to try to get the ball out. He knew where he was relative to the line of scrimmage and the end zone.
He's down.
His knee is down. That's a safety.
That's got to be a safety. And so misery loves company, and now it's going to be a 16-0 game.
Our guys had a go. That other angle that they had showed it clearly that
They're rolling on the field that the quarterback's knee was down with the ball in the end zone. Safety.
I don't think there's, well, they're going to review it, I'm sure, because it is points.
Yeah, it's points, yeah.
But once they look at it, they'll know that Omenahu made the play and that the 2 points should count. Omenahu just manhandled Beecham, the guard, to get to the quarterback, Alex Delton. That'll make it 16-0. That's a knee, and that's 2. Timeout. 12:42 remaining. Well, next week it's the Red River. There's a rivalry game, but this is the Kansas River. The Red River, of course, flows all the way into my hometown, Shreveport, Louisiana. All the way through. A lot of fans of Texas. But the Red River is next week. That's the Kansas River this week. Deshaun Jameson is back deep, awaiting this free kick that's coming K-State's way. Andrew Hicks there's been a shakeup. We should mention Blake Lynch, injured, who's an outstanding kicker, meaning Nick McClellan is handling the placements today, and Hicks is handling the kickoffs. And here's Jameson, who's already got a 90-yard return for a touchdown. And he'll give Texas quality field position with a 22-yard return beyond the 35.
Jimmy, so far, no signs whatsoever of look ahead on the part of this Texas Longhorn team. They have been engaged, active, and maybe on defense a little bit overactive.
Nice little curl pattern to Joshua Moore.
Whoa, that's a big hit.
Yeah, he gets more after that hit by Elijah Walker. He bounced around and picked up a healthy gain after that first pop.
Walker is a big-time player. I mean, anybody that's willing to lay his body out like that, he comes with an attitude on every single play. Elijah man means business.
Back to the original line of scrimmage, so 2nd and 10. Ingram, nothing doing. Justin Hughes, who checked in for the injured Sam Sizlove, made the stop. High school teammates Justin was with Duke Shelley and Elijah Sullivan in Tucker, Georgia.
I like his size, Tim. He's taller than he would be for that position, but again, at about 6'6", he's an outstanding leverage guy. He plays with the type of leverage you would expect of a guy that tall.
3rd and 9, and this is a big down for the K-State defense and for their chances in this game at all. They cannot afford to fall behind 23-0. Little crossing pattern, shallow cross to Colin Johnson. How about that? You thought he was down. He keeps on churning. First down, Texas. That's a 14-yard gain.
Well, Justin Hughes has got to make a tackle on this play. He comes up, he has leverage on him, but he puts that hat across and doesn't finish. And again, when you allow this guy, Colin Johnson, to get vertical on you like that and spin, he'll hurt you.
Ehlinger really in rhythm now. Finds Gerard Hurd. He's got it at the 39-yard line. A.J. Parker the stop. They move the chains again.
Shallow crossing route underneath. And again, he was on the inside shoulder, which actually afforded him an opportunity because a defender was playing with leverage to allow him to turn the opposite direction and get vertical upfield for additional yardage. I bet if you're in a private room without consequence, you ask Sam if he threw that back there intentionally, he'd probably say no, but it worked out to his advantage and allowed Collins to get extra yards.
10 first downs to only 3 for Kansas State. 127 passing yards for Texas, only 7 for the Wildcats. Pump fake and a beauty. Ehlinger will check down, and he missed his man Joshua Moore at that time. And again, an errant pass in a situation on a check down that might have gone for something.
And what happened on that play, he just had to double reset his feet, did Ehlinger, and that kind of got him off. But when he can set his feet, or either he's on the move, it actually helps his throwing ability. But those are some of the nuances of his game that, as we talked to Coach Herman yesterday, he still needs to improve upon, and that accuracy is going to help his receivers make plays downfield when he gets it perfected.
2nd and 10. That's Duvernay. Excuse me. It is Devin Duvernay on the receiving end. Another first down for Texas. I thought that the conversation we had with Tom Herman about improving accuracy last night in his coaching period as an assistant was pretty spot on.
Oh, about Leach? Coach Leach? You got to tell that story, man.
I mean, I'd love for you to tell it. That's why I asked. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Ingram is in the backfield.
I'll unpack that after this play.
On 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line.
That's right.
On the zone read, Keontae Ingram. Boy, that was a great shake, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Got him an extra 4. Duke Shelley tripped him up, number 8. So he's an assistant coach at the time, Herman.
Yep, and Mike Leach, the iconic Mike Leach, and he's just a strange bird, but he's one of the most colorful coaches out there, was asked about improving accuracy. He says, accuracy? You just improve, recruit better. That's what you got to do.
That's what you do.
It ain't nothing. Technically, you just get better athletes. There it is, switch route. That's nice.
Duvernay just stopped shy of the 10 by Shelley. Spencer, I mean, if they don't hold him to 3 here, I mean, it's got to be a world of hurt for K-State the rest of the day.
Well, I think the thing about this is when you play soft coverage against those little switch routes, those little what we call Texas read routes where the guy's coming back inside, he sees zone. It's just like stealing, Tim. And if you've got an accurate quarterback, you just can move down the field without anyone stopping you.
Ehlinger going back the other way for the corner, incomplete. Looked to be in the direction of Andrew Beck, but overthrown.
Daquan Patton made him change his launch point. And again, typically, if he's not affected or hit, Ehlinger's going to make that throw. But Patton did a nice job of coming off the edge and allowing him little time to set his feet to get that ball back across his body. It's a great defensive play. That's a way of affecting the quarterback without actually getting them sacked.
Texas is going heavy now with extra tight ends on the field. Lado and Brewer have entered the game. Now they spread out, try to beat them with formation here. With an empty backfield. Bingo. A lot of pressure and he decides to take it back inside from the 10 to about the 7-yard line.
That's called design. They had 5 receivers outside trying to create openness again for the quarterback, and the ball's going to come back inside. That's
boom, right back at you.
Yeah, that should have been not a design run, but that was an option. He actually could have run that ball if he wanted to.
Hubert got his mitts on it, came right back, and wisely, Ehlinger with a beautiful ad-lib job.
When you go 5 wide, I guarantee you this is basically a reasonable facsimile size-wise of a Tim Tebow. I don't know why you try to throw it. You just run the ball.
12th play of the drive. Ehlinger with a couple of receptions for 24 yards. Now in trouble. Pressure coming up the middle that time. And from some squeezing from the corner in safety's positions, Kendall Adams was coming. Reggie Walker, 51, got there, along with 21.
Well, pressure was coming from here and here, and that's what made this ball collapse. Again, the pressure from the outside, both sides know where to go, but up the middle. And again, when you got bodies all over the place, 8 men inside that box, it's going to be tough sledding.
Yeah, little hang time there as Justin Hughes got through. That's the only twice on 3rd down conversions have they been stopped after that. Now a 28-yarder for Cameron Dicker. That is a victory for Kansas State's defense to maintain contact. And again, 19 is a lot to overcome when you run a conservative offense like Kansas State. That was a must stop even this early in the game. Deep. Shelley and Zuber are back deep. Bravos are in again. How about that? And Shelley brings it back. Lost the ball. It's on the field, and Texas looks to have it. The Longhorns have it. A rare error by a veteran player, and it's Brandon Jones, 19, that hopped on top of it. Unless the ball squirted out. Boy, he had a great shot at it. It looked like Texas all the way, but let's see.
Well, I sure thought Brandon Jones had
did it
man.
ever? Could have popped out.
Wow.
Shelley may have
On the
regathered.
field was a fumble recovered by the receiving team. First down, Kansas State.
What a break. What a break.
That was some official sleight of hand there.
Well, I think the ball can squirt out. But
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it looked like Jones was all over it, and Shelley, to his credit, may have regathered it. Let's take a look here.
Well, the initial, when it comes out, it's going to be clear.
Yeah. There's
At least
19.
for the moment.
Yeah, but Shelley was on the deck and in a position to regather it.
Yeah.
That absolutely is what happened. So a big break. Back of the wrist does not put you down, so the opportunity was there for the recovery, and Texas missed it. Delton stays in the game, gets out of some trouble, and is ahead to the 25-yard line. So he picks up 2, and he was running away from and finally tackled by Ominahu again, who's had quite a first half.
Gary Johnson was in that mix, too. Again, playing that rover outside linebacker position. He almost ran dead into him. Oh, man.
Alex Barnes is in the backfield on 2nd down and 8. They have really been behind the chains, Kansas State. In trouble here is Delton. Finds his way close to the necessary yardage for the first down. Let's go down to Holly Saunders. Holly?
Well, Tim, yesterday when we met with Coach Snyder, he highlighted these plans very clearly for today's game. He said we have to maintain balance on offense, don't give up explosive plays on defense, and play well on special teams. So far, Tim, none of these boxes have been checked.
Yeah, 0 for 3, no question. Oh, boy, the Volunteers in some trouble. Jeremy Pruitt in his first year. It'll take some time, as it does when anyone is hired for a new job.
Yeah, he's a great mind, though, particularly on defense. He'll be fine.
Delton remains in the game, flushed from the pocket. Marker's down as he takes himself out of bounds inside the 30. You know, Spencer, known this man for the 27 years he's been a head coach.
Holding on the defense, number 45. 10-yard penalty will be enforced for the end of the run.
That's
first down.
A break here for K-State. Anthony Wheeler is tagged for the penalty. And that gives them great field position now inside the 20 in the red zone for the first time at the 18. 7 penalties now, 80 yards against Texas and none against Kansas State. No penalty yardage whatsoever. That's the only stat that's really in their favor so far. Warmack is in the backfield. Pass is thrown beautifully that time to Zuber. And Isaiah has it right at the 10-yard line. 2nd and 3 coming up here. They'll mark it actually at the 11.
So relying on the throw game. Gets a 4-man front. We'll see if they continue throwing the ball. They got a good shot up top.
Delton. And he gets the 10, and that's about it. Push back. He's a good yard and a half away from the necessary yardage for a 1st and goal. Gary Johnson, what a job this kid has done. Really quick, side-to-side speed out of Dodge City Community College. Taking over in those big shoes left by Malik Jefferson, who's now playing on Sundays. 3rd down, we'll call it 2 from the 10. Zuber to the bottom of your screen. Chris Boyd has him. Keep an eye right there. And he keeps it. Burrows ahead for a 1st and goal at the 6.
Timmy, what's interesting is even when Texas gets in softer coverage where a quick hitch or slant route is there for them. I mean, look at you'll see the cushion. He shows great patience and wait for this play to develop. Again, Mitchell with what they call an if block. He's pulling the opposite direction that allows Delton to get his head in there and get some plus yardage. But there are opportunities on the edge of this defense, too.
Barnes to the 3. Now, keeping Delton in the game, and we talked about at the top of this quarter about Skylar Thompson and maybe having to air it out once you get down by, more than a couple of touchdowns. What this has done effectively, Spencer, is kept the clock rolling, which means Texas may not get the ball back if your team can score. Maybe that's what Coach Snyder has in mind. Delton finally stopped around the 2-yard line. The clock goes tick, tick, tick. Now you're down to 3rd and goal. So there's that risk you take, even though you've got a full complement of timeouts. I'm sure he's thinking he doesn't want to give Texas and that offense any chance of having the ball.
We'll see if this offensive line can redeem itself and vindicate itself from last week. Unable to get 6 yards and 6 inches, and Texas defensive front stopping them here.
Brecken Hager, 44, the senior from Austin Westlake, making the stop. Well, it's pretty obvious, right, that they're going to let this thing tick down and then call a timeout on 4th.
Wow. Timmy, I think you have a chance to take a couple of shots, man.
And remember this now, they don't have their kicker.
Yeah, I understand
Blake Lynch is not available.
And that even more so why you want to take a couple of shots. If you throw the ball, the clock's going to stop. I mean, you just...
Blake Lynch is out with an injury. We were notified of that this morning.
Messages and handwritten notes, and I love his leadership. I love what he stands for. The only active living coach in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we'll see.
But the opportunity here to throw the ball and stop the clock with a couple of plays, to me, is a missed opportunity. Nice, you got him.
It's wide open, and it's dropped it.
Wow.
Adam Harder had it and dropped it. And that sums up the offensive woes of this Kansas State team, and he had it in his hip pocket. Snyder knew it. They just didn't execute.
And you still don't have the confidence that would have come from getting the 6 inches to get it in.
Look at that.
That's tough, man. And this is an inflection point. You go in at halftime. What does it do to you? The dejection there on Delton's face. What does this do to the psyche of this team, not being able to punch it in and make this a game?
Well, remaining solvent and persevering is huge. That's the story here at halftime as we go to Los Angeles for the State Farm halftime show. And Rob Stone. In a pass-happy league, this was a back-to-your-roots, pound-the-rock kind of game. And at halftime, Texas has used their brute power as well as their dynamic explosiveness to have a 19-0 lead. We'll hear from Holly in a moment. Spencer, your thoughts in general terms about the defense and Charles Omenihu really taking the line of scrimmage over.
Really love how Todd Orlando moved him around inside. Again, whether he was playing from that defensive tackle position, backside, inside, outside, he was really very effective. And again, it's about matchups. Here on the edge, the ability to shed and release, and now they move him inside. Todd Orlando looking for matchups. It doesn't matter where they are on the line of scrimmage. They've turned Omenihu loose, and he has held this defense, this offense rather, to 50 yards rushing for Kansas State. Now they're going to cut it because that was the plan coming in, to be able to win this one on the ground. So far, that plan has failed.
As did the sequence at the end of the first quarter, but you got to give Snyder credit. He had the play in his hip pocket we talked about. They simply didn't execute it. Here's Zuber taking the opening kick. Remember, Kansas State deferred to open the game, and he'll be stopped shy of the 20 after an 18-yard return. Holly Saunders talked to both coaches at halftime.
Yeah, time I asked Coach Snyder how to get their offense going in the second half, and he jokingly said, Holly, I need more than 22 players out there to do that. Of course, we know you can't do that, but he also said that we will see playing time for both quarterbacks in this second half, so look out for that. Also, Coach Herman, obviously very pleased with the first half, said he isn't looking to slow down and wants to connect on more deep plays, put more points on the board, Tim.
Skylar Thompson does start the second half. We had thought, really, at the beginning of the second quarter that they might call his number. He can throw it a bit better. And here's Alex Barnes ahead to the 22. Chris Boyd making the tackle. A little extracurricular going on between Johnson, number 33, and Dalton Reisner, 71, the leader of that offensive front. A little bit of fight from this team as you see Andre Coleman, the offensive coordinator, down along the sideline.
He likes Thompson, that's for sure. Again, Holly's report was great because Coach doubling down says he needs more than 22 out here to win. That's ouch.
That's calling out for guys.
Yes, it sure is.
That pass a little low. Reuter was in position to take it. Falls incomplete.
So now you got your guy in there, your quarterback that's supposed to be able to throw it. And then now, maybe it's catchable, Tim, but it could have been thrown better as well. So
he slipped a little. Yep. Reuter did. And you see that does appear to be a noticeable limp for Dalton. You thought perhaps a ploy on that last sequence at the end of the first half. Perhaps he is still a little bit nicked up. Barnes is in the backfield on 3rd and 6. Three-man front for the Horns, and they come with some pressure. It's picked up. And Thompson's pass is caught by Schoen. That's his first catch of the day. The junior from Overland Park, Kansas, has become sort of a deep threat for this team. That's a 13-yard gain.
Well, 3 verticals. Again, it's about man coverage. Everybody's turning. The little outcut underneath it is what made it possible. Now pace and tempo. Let's see if they can move the ball up the field and put 2 together. Nice job.
Wide receiver screen. Schoen with the block. Zuber gets it out to the 40. 83 there making that catch as Brandon Jones made the stop there.
Well, Thompson's pass is made possible because of protection up front. I mean, you had pressure coming off the edge. Chris Nelson, the nose tackle, actually made his way outside and around, but able to avoid the pressure because of the protection so solid up front.
Well, the mere fact that Thompson's out there, Spencer, it means the Texas defense has got to respect the width of the game, not just the depth of it.
No question.
Nice run here, strong by Barnes. And this is an authoritative look from the offensive front of Kansas State, a 10-yard pickup.
Instinctive plays here because they're running away from the numbers. Tremendous job up front, doing a nice job of working on Chris Nelson, almost unmovable in that middle at 6'3", 300 pounds. The red shirt, he's just an unbelievably difficult guy to move, but when you decide to go that direction, and he's got his weight bearing down, your centers, all those guys up front, have got a tough task to move him.
Well, we've certainly seen the adjustment that Holly was talking about relative to the change of quarterback. Play fake, looking deep for Zuber, on a fly. Incomplete, flag out. You see that often when the passes to the back shoulder are thrown a little behind. Just no time really for Chris to make the adjustment.
Well, Chris has a right
Pass
to this ball.
Defense, number 2, 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
He has a right to the ball, does Chris Boyd, if he turns in time and makes a beat on it. But it's Zuber's speed that gets him allowed the double move, which Texas was beat twice on earlier in the season. That's something that these very gifted defensive backs have got to improve upon. We talked to Coach Orlando about that yesterday. His team knows it.
Now 95 yards in penalties against Texas, and that run by Barnes is outstanding. He bowled over Boyd, and you could see France, the rest of that O-line, they're enjoying this opening drive. That's 11 yards on that carry.
Tyler Mitchell, Drew Beecham, all of those guys blocking really, really well on this drive.
Coach Wanstad said at halftime how one-dimensional the Kansas State offense was. There's no denying that.
Now you got a one-on-one matchup that you're looking for, Tim. He's got to come back to the other side quick, though.
Thompson's pass is there. Schoen's got it. Schoen is taken out. Good field position now inside the territory that they wanted. B.J. Locke with the wrap up here.
Nothing fancy, just an outcut, 5 yards and out in the flats and throw it. It's a timing ball. If it's on course, it's going to get caught.
First and goal with the ball at the 9. Well, we touched on it at the start of the second quarter. Maybe time for a pitching change as you see P.J. Locke with the stop. Second and goal. Alex Barnes remains the setback. Reuter is split to the top of your screen. Zuber to the bottom. Dobson.
He can run this.
Yeah, he has room.
Nice.
Zuber was in the back, but I'm with you, Spencer. He should have tucked it and taken it to the house. That was a late decision that Thompson made. Zuber had a room, but the pass was airmailed.
Well, sometimes it's tough to trust your speed and ability. If you're in the game to throw the ball, that's what you're looking to do first and foremost. But again, because of the time and the distance, look at the room here. He could come here or here and throw it. You got a convoy out in front of you, at least one. Maybe you make it to the edge if you stretch the field. But I think besides the strategy, the telling thing, they've had 5 first downs on this drive. They had 7 first downs in the total first half, Tim. That's the difference.
Barnes, the lone setback. Plenty of time on the play clock to snap this. Was he looking for a run? Yes, he was. And
He scored. We got that.
touchdown. Yes, there it is. The passer turned runner. And you called it, Spencer T.
Well, Bill Snyder's anything. He's crafty and he's wily. He takes a polar opposite of what you would expect to do with the guy who's supposed to be the thrower. You have him going to the wide side of the field. It's just a tremendous job of finding the cone and sticking the ball out there. You can see him. He's got it seated in the proper hand. Sticks it out and extends.
Spencer, he did that all with formation, did he not?
He really
using
did.
3 wides to the field and then going back with the run with his quarterback?
Give him the looks and trying to play the numbers game. Run where there ain't. That's the old adage. Great job with the formation, but more importantly, a quarterback whose #1 skill set is throwing, doing it with his legs.
McClellan, who handles usually kickoffs, not placements, in for Lynch, puts it through. Well, we thought we might see Skylar Thompson to start the second quarter. We got him to start the third, and job well done. Game on in Manhattan. 82 yards on the opening drive, and it's the more efficient passer that carries the mail and gets the touchdown. Skylar Thompson to culminate it from 7 yards away. What was a well-conceived drive from the get-go. Deshaun Jameson is back deep. You see Hicks preparing to kick it away. Andrew, the redshirt freshman from Shawnee, Kansas. And a fair catch is called for, so they'll bring it out. Well, where were you in 1989? Bill Snyder was coaching his first game in the Little Apple. As for Tom Herman, he was a freshman with a mullet at Simi Valley High in California. And pretty nice yearbook picture for the future Longhorns head coach. Got a little Gundy look going on there.
He did, a little mullet. Did he really have a Camaro going up? A nice little Camaro? No, I know. Where were you in '89?
I called a K-State win over Kansas that year in basketball. Really? Yeah.
I know we were in one of 2 Super Bowls in San Francisco. I remember
yes,
that
you
one.
were. Yes, you were.
Then,
you were getting jewelry. A little bling
hardware
for Spencer T.
And that was the year the wall came down, too.
Reed, option, and expect the tight end. He's got room. And you know that guy's not going to miss a tackle in space. Elijah Walker brings him down. Gain of 12.
Elijah Walker does bring him down. A nice job of blocking on the perimeter by the big receivers, too. Again, we talked about how integral they are. Colin Johnson and company blocking downfield. When the ball is not in their hands, still able to affect the play.
Ehlinger whips it out to Duvernay. Stopped by A.J. Parker.
A.J. kind of cattle rustled him there. Just kind of pulled him down like a steer. Grabbed him by the horns. It's a nice tackle.
4 minutes remaining in the third. Second down and a yard to go with Trey Watson in the backfield.
Cover 2, zone coverage. They're going to see if they can exploit this. Probably a very cautious pass. Probably won't run against the numbers, but let's see. Option game.
To the wide side of the field. Watson stopped for a loss. Duke Shelley, the sure tackling corner, coming up to make that play.
That's how you play the option game with leverage. And again, part of it too, if you're the quarterback, when you come down and pitch that ball, the way you make it work is you got to make sure that defensive end is closer to you. There's no one. Ehlinger wastes his ability. You got to push it to the edge and then make someone defend you. Then you deal it on the corner.
3rd down and 1. On the read option, he'll keep it. And he's got the first down. I got to say this for Sam Ehlinger. He is tough.
I love him. I mean, I said he was Tim Tebow light. He's built like that, man. Watching him in the pre-games, he's just swollen, man. Got those big old lower body legs. It's so tough to stop him, but on the option game, he can really give himself an advantage. And maybe this is part of play design, too, to have someone to actually option off of. Because otherwise, you're wasting your numbers.
Same high school, Westlake, as Drew Brees and Nick Foles. Couple of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks.
Nice job.
Ehlinger whips it out to LJ. Little Jordan Humphrey has the first down at the 30 of Kansas State.
This is what they've needed to do, is exploit this zone coverage. Here's the area that you want to exploit back here. L. Jordan does a nice job of sitting down. You don't need to do anything but find grass. That's what he's looking for. Open space, not running any particular routes. Just sit it down in that void. Let Ehlinger set his feet and deliver a strike.
That's another 20-yard pickup.
Boom. Down goes Daniel Young, his first carry.
Justin Hughes, man, just came in there with his ears pinned back, with a bad attitude. Coming from that inside linebacker position, shows you exactly what he's looking for. Look at his, that's his focus. His eyes read and react, is able to avoid a defensive guard trying to block him. That's a big-time play right there now.
Loss of a yard, so 2nd and 11. Colin Johnson, we've not called his name, Spencer, that often. He's lined up on the opposite side of Shelley, the top of your screen, and it's 2nd down and 11 yards to go. Humphrey in motion. This is run all the way for Ehlinger. Down to the 30-yard line, and it's Hughes again. The first to get there.
I like what coach is doing, trying to get Kansas State focused on defending the run in the middle of the field right now. He's going to take a shot eventually. I mean, he's got a different set of skill at the wide receiver position that he had at Houston. Those were smaller guys. He's got 50-50 guys that'll go up and get it. Give him another 15 yards. He's going to take a shot on top, I promise you.
2 of his favorite targets at the bottom of your screen. Johnson and Humphrey. On 3rd and 7. He's looking that way. Incomplete. Looked as though he was expecting that route to go out and not up. Colin Johnson and he perhaps confused on that route.
Well, he had him wide open. Again, the sideline there. And again, no pressure. Just the ball was errant, off the mark. So he had him wide open. I mean, you know, Colin's going to come down here and just work. Nice outside release. I mean, he's just sitting down there. Ball so far from him.
Yeah, no, I'm going to tell you, it was so bad, I thought he was confused on the route.
Yeah.
You're right, it was just a bad pass. Dicker pushed it. He pushed it.
Wow. Giving him hope, Timmy. Giving him hope.
You let these guys hang around in this building. You talk about it so often. The currency of college football is its history. And historically, K-State doesn't lose this game. Texas appears to be really every level better. The Bill Snyder's club is playing with that sense of urgency now in this second half. And you can feel it in this building.
You sure can. You know there's always going to be ebb and flow in the course of any game. But once the game begins to take on the narrative that has defined it historically, that's when your guys begin to hope for more.
From the 30 with Delvin Warmack in the backfield for Skylar Thompson. Independence, Missouri. Redshirt freshman with a good arm.
Numbers to the right.
Under pressure now, lets it fly, and it's incomplete. Good idea. Brecken Hager heading by the shoestrings, and he unloaded.
That's really funny. Sometimes when you look at a play, it's obvious that you should run away from the numbers, or if you plan in the pass, maybe pass away from the numbers, unless you have a clear mismatch. That play ended up being a run away from where the numbers were. And even though it didn't get yardage, that's where the ball should have gone in the first place, to the right side.
Time winding down here in the third. 2nd and 10. See something again, changing the play. The ball should come here. Nothing doing for Womack.
Gary Johnson plugging that hole abruptly. The senior from Douglas, Alabama, by way of Dodge City Community College. He had such a great game against USC and has just followed up on it the last 2 weeks.
One thing is obvious. Kansas State is trying to run away from numbers. They're doing a pretty good job. Texas not really adjusting. You saw the trouble they had doing that on the 1 touchdown run they had on the pass, the run by the quarterback.
Well, you see the conversion story. They need one here, and the chains are against them. 3rd down and 9. Corner cat blitz coming. Thompson with time. It's caught. It's Zuber. It's first down.
He beat Chris Boyd on that. Boyd was defending, had nice coverage, but Zuber did a fantastic job on an individual route. That's just all about him finding a way to get open.
Stayed composed, didn't he, Thompson?
Yes, he sure did.
That was a good one to close out the third. Wildcat fans are feeling it. They're accustomed to having success in postseasons. This could be one of those fourth quarters that they're remembering in November, played in September. Kansas State needed a great third quarter. They got it. That was one heck of a pass and catch to close out the third.
Zuber gave him an opportunity to go to what they do best right now with this quarterback, and that's throw the ball. It was just basically a push route where he goes down, Timmy, and makes a great job in terms of the cut and getting open. Boyd had nice coverage, design coverage, but he made a great move and made a great play.
Well, without question, if you look at what Kansas State has done in this second half, they have forced Todd Orlando's team to cover the entire field. That was not the case in the first half. Nice move to Sean, and he dropped it. Boy, it was right there. He just let the ball play him that time. And it was a beautiful pump fake by Thompson. And Dalton Schoen, boy, does he want that one back.
Well, Schoen needs to have it back because, again, it was the perfect coverage. You know, Texas, with a safety back here, he's got to go a long way to cover this. That safety came down out of the hole, leaving him wide open. I mean, boy, good pump fake on it. Nice job of selling it. That's the reason why the safety drove and came to the quarterback, because of the pump fake. He thought he was going to the out. Instead, he went to the hole.
Gotta love the arm, the ability to throw that pass by Thompson. That one's overthrown by Reuter. Pump fakes can be brilliant. This one was, and it enabled him. It did.
It really did enable him. Again, the safety, which the ISO here is just absolutely beautiful. But what happened on that play was the safety moved on the move with the pump fake, drove, that opened up the hole back, and Schoen had an opportunity to come wide open. Just couldn't complete the catch.
3rd down and 10 with the ball at the 43. Well, you saw a big drop to close the first half by Adam Harder. That one was another difficult pill for K-State to swallow.
Got a late blitz. Let's see if they pick it up.
Thompson shoots it for Schoen again.
That's beautiful.
Nice idea. Go back to the guy that just dropped one, as he did right there. That's 18 yards and a first down.
And P.J. Locke was coming from depth late. We're going to see the ISO here, what was happening on the back end of this. Again, another outcut at about 10 to 12 yards. This time they give him a chance to make good, build his confidence. Boy, I love the decision to come right back to him.
Yeah, Stearns, the safety, the freshman phenom, was over there with him. Movement early by Hager, but no flag. Thompson wings it deep for the corner for Reuter, incomplete.
Yeah, Hager did a nice recovery, but coming parallel to the line of scrimmage. Outstanding job here, what otherwise would have been a sure penetration.
Yeah, I think he was wanting a flag. Devontae Davis was in coverage. That ball did not look or appear to be catchable. I think maybe he thought there was some movement in that interior line that had given him a free play, too.
This is amazing. That was the 8th first down a minute ago.
He got
this
back,
half.
Though. 2nd and 10. Off the bootleg action. It's shown again. Normally sure-handed, dropped one, and is atoning now. That's 19 yards, Spencer.
Yeah, Brandon Jones, the free safety, was defending, and it's a nice job on the outcut. It's a medium outcut. These quarterbacks, Thompson included, throw the ball well on the run. A chance for him to plant his feet and get all of his body into that throw. He delivered it on the road.
Probably the best performance from a quarterback for K-State was by him against Texas San Antonio earlier in the year. He is looking every bit that part right now. Barnes stopped at the 17-yard line by Gary Johnson.
That's the missing part, Barnes, of this reclamation project of a second half. He was their leading rusher of a year ago among the running backs. If they can get him going, he was well below his season average of a year ago. If they can get him going, complimentary, they can work the edges a little bit more effectively. That's the job.
Quarterback goes bring it down. Looks like a design run, and he's out of bounds at the 16.
He missed Caden Stearns and avoided him at that strong safety position. Again, I love the left-handed kind of play here on this play selection on this series. The passing quarterback pulling it down and running. He's got a touchdown already. 4th down, Timmy. What do? This is the biggest play of the game, in my opinion.
Well, they bring another tight end in. Lays Gammon 89. Checks in. Schoen and Zuber, their two best receivers, are at the top. Reuter at the bottom of your screen. Reuter to the top. 4th and 6. Slant. Schoen has it. 1st down. 1st and goal. P.J. Locked in man-to-man coverage there. Brings him down.
BJ says he's engaged his team in self-checking one another. Nothing you can do against that inside slant job. Ball is thrown on time. Great throw and catch.
3 receptions, 46 yards, and a drop on this drive for Schoen, which may have inspired him. Nothing doing for Barnes. P.J. Locke stayed home that time. Impressive young man we met with last night, Spencer. Says he fashioned himself after Earl Thomas, who's the best in the business. Actually, on his recruiting trip from Beaumont, Texas, he saw Earl Thomas and said, well, that's got to be a sign from above. And now the two maintain contact with one another.
Was it his recruiting trip or was it draft day?
It was recruiting trip, okay. There you see Andre Coleman, offensive coordinator for Kansas State. He has Barnes still in there on 1st and goal, and he takes it. Barnes stays upright. Hager gets a little bit of help from the perimeter. Brandon Jones coming up to push him back. That's just big man on big man down there.
I'm really impressed, though, with the formation and the play call. And that was a little teacup trip formation into the boundary, the short side of the field, giving you the impression that they were going to throw it down there, try to get a mismatch or a rub. Came back with the run. Looks like an Art Briles kind of move, man.
16 carries, 74 yards now for Barnes. Wildcat look with Barnes in the Wildcat position.
This is power all the way.
All the way. Barnes stopped at the 1, pushed back by Hager. We'll see where the forward progress is. It's 4th down. That's a given. Where did they give him his forward progress? I thought it was closer to the 1. And it is.
Another opportunity to define who they are. Got a lead blocker. Counter motion underneath there as well. Adam Harder, fullback, was in the game. Both fullbacks were back there trying to create some opportunity in a phone booth. It's tough.
16th play of the drive and the biggest play of the game so far. Barnes again in the Wildcat.
Boy, I would love to if block this and come around to the left.
Here he comes right at you. It is up and over and touchdown.
Timmy, we said that Alex Barnes was going to have to get going to help this team balance it out. And we talked about how he had to continue to soften up the middle of the field. Success in the throw game with the quarterback change made it all possible.
Nick McClellan in for the injured Blake Lynch for the extra point. Got it. It's never easy when you come here. Texas knew it. Todd Orlando knew it. The head coach, Tom Herman, knew it. You want to get to the Red River Showdown, you better deal with the K-State Showdown first. 16 plays. Oh, by the way, 2 fourth-down conversions on the 6-minute and 2-second drive. Shown with the 3 catches. Really the catalyst, and I think he was inspired after the drop. So uncharacteristic for him to do that. And now suddenly this place is jumping. It is jumping.
It's not big, not a whole lot of people, but it's known. It's out around the league. It's noisy. They're physical, and it's tough to come away with the win here.
If you've never been to Kansas State, it's a similar building to the one at TCU. Very intimate setting. Place gets really loud, and the fair catch is called. Now Texas has to prove that they are, in fact, a different brand of horns this season. It's Ingram. It opens up for him, and he's stopped beyond the 35 to the 38. That's 13 yards in the arms of Kendall Adams, number 21, the free safety.
Now, Daquan Patton was trying to make a play on it, just missed it. Allowed him to spring and get to that edge. This defense is going to get tested. Let's see how they respond.
If they control the ball here, keep making first downs and let the clock tick, and there's nothing K-State can do. Kendall Adams with the tackle of Keontae Ingram. Keontae stopped a yard behind the line of scrimmage, so it's 2nd and 11.
I felt like Monty Hall making that example when I'm talking about let's make a deal.
You're bringing up game shows? 2nd down, 11. Duvernay is to the bottom of your screen. Swings it out to Ingram again. Keontae! What a hurdle! Keontae showing you that he's got plenty of moves. How about that?
Edwin Moses over the top. Keontae with a nice little vintage move over the top. Keontae.
I may have a Perrier now. 3rd and 6. K-State defense settles in as you see Tom Herman. Play is in, and they're ready to go.
This is a big gamble for K-State.
Wildcats bring 4. Pass over the middle. Caught.
Yep.
Colin Johnson, well, we had not heard from him this second half, but that was a huge pitch and catch to the junior from San Jose.
Well, you better be able to affect the quarterback if you're going to give him that. Plenty of time. You can see the vision in his eyes. He comes back to the backside. Does Ehlinger finds a little window, places it low and inside, exactly where it needs to be.
Got to be impressed with Sam Ehlinger. How far he's come, Spencer, since the end of last year.
Quality decision maker now. He's just got to continue that path.
29 of 36 for 207. Calls his own number here. Quarterback drop. Boy, was he popped. The usual suspects are always involved. A.J. Parker, number 12. Boy, did he lay the lumber.
Parker just popped him. You just got to listen to it, folks. If you
2nd and 8. Trips to the bottom of your screen. Humphrey, Beck, and Duvernay.
Listen, they're not going to pressure the quarterback. This is another gamble, in my opinion. Loose look upside.
It's Ingram. Almost popped it. Almost popped it. He's very close to the first down, about a yard away.
Kansas State extremely conservative, kind of telegraphing with the play of the linebackers that they're not intending to blitz and try to affect the quarterback.
Now, we haven't touched on their defensive coordinator, 34-year-old Blake Seiler, taking over in late January. Third down, a yard to go. They go shotgun again with now Daniel Young in the backfield.
2 deep safety, conservative again, trying to bring it down high, the hole effect. And these are the numbers now. Single safety look, more numbers around the line of scrimmage. They sense the run.
Yeah, running into a corner blitz, but effectively as Reggie Walker made the stop. 3-yard pickup and a first down for Texas. Now, how big was that block by Hager? They could just run out the clock and win this football game.
Most important play of the game for Texas, in my opinion. Death by 1,000 cuts. I mean, it's just really about how Kansas State chooses to defend them now at this point. They've got to generate a turnover.
Yeah, and Kansas State used 2 timeouts in the third quarter.
Yep.
They can only stop the clock 1 time. Ingram tripped up, stays with it, boy.
Well, as A.J. Parker, though, did a nice job of coming up and minimizing the damage, but still plus yardage.
Yeah, resourceful just to get that 4.
Yep.
Pick up a 4, 2nd and 6. You could have argued he would have been stopped for a yard gain there.
Well, it's just painful. If you're sitting there with 1 timeout, you don't have nothing.
And the missed opportunity, too, at the end of the first half. We cannot lose sight of that.
Yep.
Both in concept and then execution at the end.
Nothing happens in a vacuum. It's all part of a larger narrative, and we can't forget that.
2nd and 6. Ehlinger will keep it. It's another first down, and the clock goes tick, 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 tick as he's down to the 20-yard line. And now you're at 132 after a 13-yard carry. Effectively, you can run it out right here.
Left guard is the one that makes this happen. Vahe, just watch him on a solo block. Just a nice job of turnout blocking, making sure the guy can't get away from that. That's just tremendous job. Jordan Mitty was held up by Vahe, just manhandle him.
You got to tackle the football now, don't you?
Oh yeah, no
question. I mean, you've got to effectively cause a turnover, or it is game, set, and match. 8 carries, 27 yards.
You don't expect Texas to do anything by formation. You can tell they're not going to risk anything.
Yep. 29 of 36 in the air. He's going to take a knee. It's game over.
Yep.
K-State can stop it once, and that's it. And he knows. Did you see that look? He took the deepest breath a head coach could take. He knew this was going to be a root canal game, and that's exactly what he got. Oh, boy. He knows. You know, Tom is so comfortable this year. And I think that's in contrast to what we saw at the end of last year, Spence.
Well, that's what we brought up in our meeting, and he actually thanked us for recognizing that, and it's so important. He understands not just for the constituency that he lives in a world of images and impressions. This was an important win. It's an inflection point, Tim, for the program.
Well, Kansas State will not utilize that timeout, and the game is over. Texas moves ahead to 4-1. Kansas State drops to 2-3. And the Red River Showdown, which we will have for you on Fox at 11 Central, noon Eastern Time, complete with our studio crew, anchored by Rob Stone, on hand for a 2-hour pregame opportunity from the Cotton Bowl. It will be intact from the Texas point of view. All right, let's go down to Holly with Tom Herman.
Thank you, Tim. Coach, your first win at Kansas State since 2002. How were you able to come into this hostile environment and pull out the win?
Well, we stuck to the game plan, which was try to keep their offense off the field as much as we could. We slowed the game down a little bit offensively. We didn't hit as many big plays on offense, but we dink and dunked them a little bit, and we ran the ball well at times and ran it enough there. We only had, I think, 8 possessions on offense, so we tried to make the most of them.
Coach, you're now 4-1, taking on Oklahoma next week. What is the biggest area you feel you need to clean up before next Saturday?
We got to connect on big plays on offense. We're not good enough. Nobody really in the country is good enough to go on 12-play, 80-yard drives. And then, obviously, we lost the penalty battle 10-0 or something, 11-0. That's unheard of. So we got to cut those down, those self-inflicted wounds.
Coach Herman, thank you very much. Enjoy it. Tim?
Actually, there was one penalty, but it came on the same play that his defense was also whistled. But in the end, Texas was too much brawn, and they win it today. For Spencer Tillman, Holly Saunders, our producer, Jake Jolivet, director, Mitch Riggin, Tim Brando saying so long. Let's get you now back from the Little Apple to where everything's big in Tinseltown. Rob Stone and post-game coverage.